Calling to order the April 11th meeting of the Lancaster County Broadband Authority. Welcome, everybody. Do we have anybody on the line, Glenn? No? No, okay. Well, I see no one from the public. So we have Mr. Geese with us from the Board of Supervisors, but no one from the general public. So with that, I'll just proceed with the meeting, if everybody's ready. Okay, provider project updates. There was an article in the March 28th Rappahannock Record that people probably saw, All Points Broadband. Everything's pretty much on schedule. They're still planning to have a lighting this spring for Lancaster County. It includes 2 other counties as well, Northumberland and I want to say King George. And then to be fully deployed with its facilities by the end of May or June. So everything seems to be going as planned there. Breeze Line, there's not much new to update. It's planning to participate in the BEAD. As you know, Virginia got $1.8 billion to expand broadband in the state. The Lancaster County providers, APB, Breeze Line, and Verizon all intend to participate for the BEAD money as well. And that has the timing for those applications. It hasn't been set. They're right now, VATI's wrapping up with the last VATI funding. Those announcements are going to be made at the end of this month or sometime after April 23rd. Broadband telecom systems, not a lot of new to report there. Haven't received if there's been an expansion or decrease in customers. Last month they had 220 customers in the area covered by the CARES funding that was awarded to Lancaster County. The county also has a relationship with Broadband Telecom Services to provide service to the smart poles and is in the midst of finalizing a transaction for BTS to take over the lease on the tower that sits here behind the courthouse. And if that transaction is completed and Lancaster County and BTS close on their relationship regarding the use of equipment to serve the customers, then the equipment will be transferred to BTS and it will take over the lease and continue to serve the customers in the county that it serves today, and hopefully other customers that want its service. Other good news, April 9th, VATI responded to the challenge that was issued to Verizon. Verizon made an application to VATI for $4.4 million. No commitments required by Lancaster County in order for Verizon to receive that money and to provide the services that it plans. Breeze Line challenged some of the areas that Verizon would otherwise be serving under its application. VATI reviewed that challenge and the response of Verizon that Lancaster County Broadband Authority assisted in providing information to Verizon for submitting a response, and Breeze Line's challenge has been denied. The one thing that, welcome. The one thing that VATI did find is that there's a address 359 Nutsville that was part of Verizon's application that apparently was part of an earlier VATI application that was awarded by other providers, and Verizon needs to remove that application. So Verizon's application continues to be reviewed, so whatever VATI's going to do, we should know sometime after April 23rd. We just had somebody join us from the public. And before I proceed, I was just wondering, do you have any questions or comments you'd like to make before we? Okay, so I'm just going to back up because you might have missed it, and I'm not certain what area you're in. I imagine you're most important with All Points Broadband. Okay, so the good news is, and I don't know if you saw the Rappahannock Record on March 28th, but they had an article in there, and we've also been in communication with them. They're on schedule. They expect to have a lighting ceremony this spring with Lancaster County and 2 other counties. They are still on track to have the network fully completed by end of May, end of June, depending upon where you are in their footprint. So all systems are go. So far, good news.
Okay.
Helpful?
Yeah, I'm particularly interested in Lower Lancaster.
Lower Lancaster.
Queens, Carolina, those areas.
Okay, so depending, do we have your address, or have you sent?
Yeah, I'm talking to Mr. Kidd.
Oh, you have, okay. And did the 2 of you come to a conclusion on who would be serving your area?
Not really. I'm just, really what I'm waiting for is to see if we qualify for the BEAD grant. That's my understanding that the project that's going on right now has to wrap up before.
Okay,
they
okay.
serve us through that. So I'm just interested in, when they will meet their obligation for wrapping up. this
Okay,
project.
so if you're Breeze Line and it's BEAD, or if you're APB or Verizon and it's going to be BEAD, Verizon still has an application pending. So if you're in that territory, it may receive funding under VATI, and that'll be sooner than the BEAD.
Okay.
Okay? Breeze Line and APB, if they're not serving your territory now, or if they're serving your territory, but in order to install would be a higher cost because you're not part of a funding program, then then the BEAD opportunity, the applications haven't been made, but we would expect that to be no later than the end of 2025.
Okay.
Because the applications haven't been made yet. But there is a lot of money available under the BEAD program.
Okay.
So I think the most important thing that you should be doing, and it sounds like you've done, is you're communicating with our board member, Mr. Kidd, and coming to these meetings, and we can keep you apprised. But please feel free to send an email to our contact line on the LCBA website as well. And in the meantime, take advantage of the library, which has free internet. Okay?
All right.
Okay, any questions on the provider update? Okay, then, a couple other things that are pending that we probably want to wrap up before the end of 2024 is, first let me back up. Broadband labels for all internet access service providers. The requirement to have a broadband label took effect yesterday. So this may be something that I would want to put on the back, the back side of the consumer outreach. We've got one-sided, but Mr. Gill explained that there's an advantage to doing two-sided. I think this is the thing to put on the back side, and we can talk about that offline, but I think that would be good for everybody to receive as a mailer. Then they could also see, without having to go to the internet, what a broadband label is supposed to look like. Every internet service provider must use the new broadband label, and if you've seen a food label on any kind of can or box or whatever, the new broadband label looks like that. It's supposed to be conspicuous, transparent, easy to understand, give the rates and all the fees to taking the broadband service from a broadband service provider.
So where did they put this label?
Well, it should be on their internet, and I can tell you, I did a very quick search of like one of the providers' internet or websites, and I couldn't find it. This is not uncommon. But it should be in all of your, if you subscribe, and before you subscribe, the advertisements. So the website and their bills, however you receive your bill, and their ads. So this is the first time that this has been this kind of requirement as far as pricing for these sorts of services, and it's going to be managed and regulated by the Federal Communications Commission.
And you sent that one around, like Verizon's.
Yes.
With, like, shows kind of comparison. You can compare. It's like,
Okay.
like that to that. It's really is,
It's great for consumers.
So each provider has their own separate label?
yeah,
Yes, and it has to meet
the standard.
the standard of the label.
Yeah, so you
Okay.
can put one against the other and you can be like, wow, you know, that's a lot more expensive and it's, you know, not as fast download or whatever.
So I kind of want to put that example, notice, whatever, on the backside of the consumer outreach, then we can get it out to the mailboxes. Okay, oh, and then the last two items I had before we go to the minutes are, there's a draft cable franchise agreement that the LCBA has negotiated with Breeze Line, with the assistance of local council and local Virginia council, and that's pending review by the Board of Supervisors. And then the consumer labels, which I mentioned. So, other than that, I guess I would turn to Michelle regarding February minutes.
Yes. I submitted a revised draft of the minutes a little while ago, and which just added a few edits that Sheree had, and if anybody doesn't have any questions on that, no, I'll make a motion to approve the February 8th, 2024 meeting minutes.
I'll second the motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. February minutes are approved, and we'll post them to the website. I have no other new business. Is there, Mr. Geese, do you have any questions for the board?
One thing, when does the label requirement, is it already in effect or is it coming in effect in the future?
Effective yesterday.
Yesterday, okay. All right. I had not heard anything about that, so.
I just pushed out an email to you that has a copy of what that label looks like, so, and you probably haven't had a chance to see that, so there is something in there, in your inbox now.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? No? All right. I'll move to, no, somebody else want to move?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
I'll move to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Just because, you know, Kevin always gets to do it.
I know. Okay. It was brief, but it was all, for the most part, good news.